All right. Welcome to the Pocket Dimension. We are going to have a Super Sunday show today, a Super Sunday stream, because I didn't stream Thursday, wasn't feeling up to it, and I didn't do the Saturday stream because I was at a convention Saturday. So, anyhow, the Twitch the Twitch update is a little bit wrong. It says I'm painting Gandalf. Well, I sort of started on Gandalf right there. Started on him. He's all primed up. I based him up, put him on I put a little bit of cork on his base to kind of dress it up just a little bit because he looked so flat just sitting on a regular base there. So we'll get back to Gandalf eventually. But my club is going to be doing a first Battle of Saratoga game in July. So we're getting together and we're all taking a little bit of time and painting up a unit or two of the participants in that battle. So this is the 7th Light Line Infantry. I guess they were out of Massachusetts, so I'll be painting those up. So just getting them cleaned up, knocking off what mold lines I can, and yeah, just getting that ready to go. So set those aside and get the rest of these cleaned up and glued to paint sticks here. So prime those up. So these fellas here have cocked hats and hunting shirts. So not all the Continental Army was outfitted in blue and white. A lot of them were wearing hunting shirts. That was their sort of ad hoc uniform. And then there were some that had a leather cap. It was a short bill cap. It wasn't cocked. It wasn't cocked up on the side, or it wasn't a tricorn or anything like that. In fact, the tricorn was sort of out by the time the Revolutionary War came around. It was still used to some effect, but it was not quite as popular. That was a 1720 warrant, or 17. It was a while that was. It was actually a long time before the Revolutionary War that the tricorn hat was part of the British and American uniform. So, anyhow, I'm going to clear this off here because when I paint, I don't want little slivers of pewter in my paint. So I've got to clean this palette off anyhow. And I really need to find a little piece of butcher paper or something so that I can clean the shavings off easily. So give me just a moment. I've got a piece of butcher paper around here somewhere, or craft paper, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. butcher paper, craft paper. Here we go. This will work right here. Yes. There we go. So we'll just lay this down so that it catches any shavings. Because I'm not sure about the metal that they use in the historical miniature side of things. They're not supposed to use lead, but I think there's a little bit of lead content in theirs, which is, they stopped doing lead back in the 90s for the most part because of some legislation in New York and California. Go figure. So everybody switched over to a white metal, which is kind of a tin mixture. So I'm gonna go ahead and just clean off the mold lines here. So I ran a paint and take yesterday at the Rathacon event. Rathacon is a little pop culture convention in Athens, Ohio. Athens, Ohio is also home to Ohio University, OU, not to be confused with Ohio State University. They are the Ohio University, not Ohio State University. Their colors are green and white. Now the cool thing, the interesting thing is, so doing my paint and takes, I reached out to the Army Painter a couple of years ago, and they sent me some things. I think they were starting to discontinue the paint line, but it was their Game Master paint line, which was basically their usual paint line, just in pony size, what I call pony bottles. So they're half-size bottles instead of full-size bottles. And I think I got something like, I don't know, what's it, 5 sets? 5 sets maybe? 6 sets? It was a lot of paint. They sent me a lot of paint. So, anyhow, I've been using that for a while. I'm starting to run out a little bit. I'm very I'm very impressed at how long it has lasted, actually. As many people as do the paint and takes at these little local conventions that I go to, that I host. Of course, not everybody uses all the colors. I have run out of black and white a little bit. I think I ran out of a gold as well. But people are pretty precious with it. I mean, it doesn't take much, and they're only doing one figure. So they put a couple of drops out, and it lasts them for a little while for what they're doing. So, anyway, to go on with the story, one of the High Mucky Mucks at Army Painter actually went to Ohio University. So that's kind of a funny little thing there. Little connection between the paints I use and the town where that convention is held at. And then, of course, next weekend is Final Boss Con in Rio Grande, Ohio. I'll be running a paint and take there. So, if you are in southeastern Ohio, come out and paint a figure with me. Paint some minis with me. So, just trying to get some of the places where the vent. So you have parting lines where the molds meet, but then you also have vents that allow air to escape, but also the metal tends to run up into those vents sometimes, so they leave sharp little points that will stick through your it will literally stick through your paint job and poke out. So it's a nice Sunday today, I'll tell you what. I mowed the lawn. I didn't do the edging. I didn't do any kind of... I didn't use the weed whacker at all or anything, but I got the majority of it done with the lawn mower, and it's a nice cool day. It was good. It's good for mowing the lawn for sure. So we're painting these up to do a Battle of Saratoga, first Saratoga. And hopefully weather stays decent in the evenings the next couple of days so I can get these primed up. So because the sooner I can get them done and off the desk, the sooner I can get back to my regularly scheduled program. Who you calling program? If you are a nerd of a certain age, you will get that one. Who you calling program? Let's see, I think Ed from Monster Den Minis is going to be streaming tonight at 6. So that's cool. I'm not sure if they're doing their Minis, Masters of Minis podcast thingy. What's it? I think DD Minis is actually streaming right now too. I thought about checking in and see if he wanted to collaborate today, but it was just such short notice, and I'm not really sure how to do that. You can do that on Twitch. So... But I got a couple of months of relaxation ahead. Well, relaxation, sort of. I'll be at Origins in June, and SharCon, which is a local convention in Charleston, West Virginia, in July. Don't really have anything much going on in May. So that's good. But May, I mean, I could have something going on in May if I wanted there to be something going on in May. It would just be a matter of reaching out. But you got to rest sometime, you know. I also have things I need to get done around the home here. That's one of the joys of being a homeowner, is that there's always something that needs to be done, and if you let it go too long, it'll really need to be done. So you've got that to look forward to. So I think May and June should be able to get quite a few things done around the house. But these are tiny little guys, so if you are watching and you joined me at a paint and take recently, your figures were about this size, right in this number, unless it was one of the dwarves or the goblins. Well, this guy is 15 millimeter scale, and so he's about half the size of what you would paint. So there's that. Paint and take, historical hobbyist paint minis size guys right here. Now they do make these guys in this size, but this is the size that my club has decided to use for our game in July. These are surprisingly clean casts, though. I think these are from Blue Moon. And they're actually quite clean. Not a lot of flash or parting lines to clean up on. You could probably go ahead and just prime them and paint them right out of the box with very little impact to your paint jobs, with as faint as the parting lines have been. I'm actually really surprised at how these muskets hold up to being cleaned. They're not wiggling and wobbling all over the place. They stay pretty straight, it looks like. Probably the hardest part of the figure to get cleaned up, though, because you can't really tell where the barrel starts and the stock begins. And there's a faint parting line, but you wonder, at least I wonder, if that parting line is there for good reason or what, and which which is actually the there's a sling on it as well, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 out of. I think I got something like 20 more to go here, so I'm not sure. I didn't count them. So there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So about 21 to go. Or 21 out of the bunch there, so. Seven and 12 is 19, not 20. Nor is it 21. Math is hard when you're a gamer. We can calculate probability curves on any number of dice. Odds, evens. Never tell me the odds. To move this camera up just a little bit. I keep on slipping out of frame. So I guess I could pull up some facts on first Battle of Saratoga and read those off while I'm painting or while I'm cleaning these up, but and I don't really play music like other streamers do, which is kind of good, especially since I'm on YouTube. YouTube records what you do anyway, and so it would be very difficult to break out the music. You can break out the music from Twitch stream, but you can't break out the music from the YouTube stream. Or at least I don't know how. I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's a way, I just don't know it. If you want inexpensive quality miniatures, use my code ROCKIT5, ROKKIT5, the number 5, ROKKIT5. That's Rocket, ROKKIT with the number 5 behind it. Rocket5 at nextlevelminiatures.com. Check them out. Get 5% off your order. Great inexpensive miniatures. Made right here in the United States. St. Louis. In fact. These, if you think miniatures are small, you should try some of these guys out. They are 15 millimeter. That is pretty small. Makes me want to pick up my Flames of War project again. My North Africa British. Get those up and running again. Problem sometimes is you don't know if the little nub that you slice off is supposed to be there or not. Like, is that a button, or is that just or is that where a vent was? You know, it's kind of hard to tell. But at this scale, once it's painted, it's not going to matter. And because you're forming them up in ranks, nobody's going to be looking at any one particular figure, generally. There are some of those button counters out there that will try to pick apart your work like it's not good enough. But you know what? you know where they can go and what they can do with themselves. So we're not going to worry about them. I'll bet I could play Song of Drums and Tomahawks with these guys, this scale. I'd have to individually base them, though, I think. Or just treat each unit. Of course, it's more of a skirmish game that really does deal with personalities. So unless you're going to have a whole stand full of guys that are as good as, say, Simon Kenton, who can run, who can load their musket on the run. Yeah. I don't think it would work out. Maybe some of the, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. I was going to say maybe some of the what would you call them? Rank and file. Duh. Maybe some of the rank and file would. You'd be able to stat them out as a single figure. I guess, if anything, you could probably just keep casualty counters and just count how many guys are knocked out. That would work. But then it still wouldn't account for heroes. So chat's a little quiet today. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm not surprised. I was a little bit late in getting started just because chores, Sunday afternoon chores, needed to be done. Kind of would have, sounds weird, but I sort of wanted to get a few other things done this afternoon too. But I did say that I was going to stream on Sunday when I had to readjust my schedule for the week, so... here we are. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That means I've got 8 more to go. So, take a little break here. Just lean back for a minute and, yeah. Sip on a little bit of the Diet Coke here. And yeah, so anyhow, running a paint and take is a great way to pass your love of the hobby on to the next generation. And get kids off of the get kids off of electronics. Parents seem to appreciate that. Any kind of thing like that that gets them interested in something else that's not electronic. So it's a good hobby. It really is. Whatever you are interested in, there's a miniature of it. Probably. Or at least something that's similar. So. And paint, once you buy paint, it lasts a while. If you stay away from Games Workshop stuff, you'll find a lot of really inexpensive figures, good quality, inexpensive figures. Or even middling quality, inexpensive figures. Some of the old, the Bones PVC, the early ones, the white PVC, weren't great, but they were inexpensive, and they paint up nicely enough. I mean, you can tell what it's supposed to be on the tabletop, and really that's all that matters. The other thing is inexpensive figures help you develop your skills without a lot of fear, you know. And one of the more inexpensive figure suppliers is Next Level Miniatures. Next Level Miniatures is out of St. Louis, Missouri. As far as I know, currently they're still using Siocast. And you can get 5% off your order if you use my code ROCKET5, ROKKIT number 5, ROCKET5 at nextlevelminiatures.com. Check it out, find something that you like, order it up, use my code, and keep on painting and keep on playing. Also, if you need a quick pickup and don't want a coffee, maybe it's too hot for coffee, you want something cool to drink, check out Dubby.gg and use my code Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL, Rocket Fuel, for 10% off your order at Dubby.gg. Sugar-free energy. Not only do they have great tasting energy drinks, but they also have hydration drinks, caffeine-free. They're just to get the water in you with a little bit of taste. So hopefully without too much going on in May, I'll be able to work on some more videos, actual videos, catch up on my content creation. Hopefully. Of course, every time I settle in to do something, work sends me out of town or something silly like that. So, who knows? Who knows? Looks good. Pretty clean there. Ah. All right. Excuse me, you're gonna have to sneeze. Caught that one. Yeah. So. In case you don't know, on my Twitch channel, I have a fundraising button for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Helpline. If you would like to make a donation, come on over to Twitch. Find my channel. It's the same name everywhere. And make a donation to the 988 line. We've only got $100 to go to make a difference. The goal was 250. It takes a while to get there when you don't have a big audience. Which Twitch is odd. You would think that Twitch would like push you a little bit more if you're doing a charity drive, but they don't really have that robust of a algorithm. They don't really push you. They don't really have a lot of don't have the greatest in the way of discoverability, it seems. So but YouTube could do better with their live stream platform. They could push things a little bit better. Of course, if you miss a stream or two, it puts you back down into the low trust category, so that's how that goes sometimes. But my numbers with the stream on YouTube are all over the place. Twitch is odd. I think there's a lot of bots that come watching from time to time. as well as a few real live people. I guess you call this a Saratoga Sunday. Getting ready for our Saratoga game. That's for, it is in 2 months, I think, 3 months, whatever June is. We're still in the 4th month, right? So this is April, so that's 4th month. So yeah, July is the 7th month. So I'll have to do some reading up on the actual battle itself. I think that'd be interesting. I think Little Wars did something. Was it maybe? I know they did Trenton. Little Wars did the Battle of Trenton, which was where Washington crossed the Delaware on Christmas Eve, caught the Hessians with their pants down, literally. But I think I want to say that Saratoga was a much more stand-up fight between both sides. I think it was a little, I hate to use the word balanced, because you should never, you should always outnumber the other guy, you know, outgun, have the advantage. But as far as an engagement that was well matched between forces, I think first Saratoga was it. And there were a couple of places, there were choices made during that battle where it could have taken it either way at the time. Or at least so the historians tell us, you know. If my thinking is correct, if my memory serves, which it probably doesn't. Only 4 left. Whittling away here. And then we'll break out the Elmer's white glue and stick them on paint sticks. So, and then we'll prime them up. Priming them up and getting some paint on them. Cool. And then there were 3. I believe these are the first actual American type figures I've ever painted up. By American type figures, I mean Americans in a conflict. I usually pick, if I play allies, I usually pick British. Go figure, right? Napoleonics, British. Although you could put together a 1812 American force for Napoleonics. That would work as well. The Battle of 1812, or the War of 1812, was during the Napoleonic era. So it was part of that whole conflict, actually. Oh, these are tiny, teeny tiny little guys. Excuse me. one more guy, and then we'll put him on painting sticks here. Take a break, and then we'll put them on painting sticks. And if the glue dries on those painting sticks quick enough, we might be able to get them out and get some primer on it before it gets dark. But I'm not counting on that. I just want to get them on sticks. If I can get them on painting sticks tonight, I will be happy. But what we might do is we might start working on some of the French and Indian Wars guys. So, since we're in the cleaning up metal castings mode today, we may just go ahead and do those up and throw those on bases as well. Might go up until about, I don't know, 8 or so tonight, maybe. I do have to do some laundry somewhere along the line. Throw some stuff in for tomorrow, at least. Having your own house with your own laundry machines, washer, dryer, it takes, honestly, I'll tell you what, it's really weird. It's going to sound odd, but it takes some getting used to. We're not having to do large loads at a time at a laundromat. Save up your loads of laundry and do them all together, because you can't just do it whenever you want. Now that I can do it whenever I want, I could do more smaller loads, or less smaller loads, depending on how I look at it. Less emergency loads. It's very odd. Very odd. But no, hopefully in May and June. I've got a couple of things going on in June, like Origins and then a couple other things. But kind of looking forward to having most of June, aside from the weekend after next. Got a thing going on. Looking forward to getting caught up on some things just around the house on the weekends, evenings. Don't have anything, no other real, like having 2 weekends back to back with conventions is a little bit difficult. Takes up quite a bit of your time. We'll set that aside. Let that glue dry. Just using white glue to stick them to the paint sticks. I don't want to use, I mean, super glue would probably work better, but I don't want to do that unless we're basing them. And so when everybody gets everything painted up, the club's going to get together and we're going to put them on bases. So that all of our basing looks the same across both forces. One of the easiest ways to do with that is to use white glue so that they pop right off the popsicle sticks. If I used say super glue or something like that, it would probably be a little bit more difficult to get them off of the paint sticks and onto their bases, their gaming bases. So alright, so we'll set that aside. We'll set those guys aside for the time being. I'll let that glue dry. And it is 6:45. I think I'm going to take a little break here. Take a little bio break. And yeah, I'll be back in just a few. And we are back. Let's see who all is here. No one on YouTube. No one at Rumble. And no one on Twitch. Great. Hey, you know, it's always a good feeling to stream to 0 people. That's alright. At least I'm back on the horse here. And doing the thing. Right. So let's get these let's get our catch paper back out here. And we will continue on with cleaning up historical figures here. So these are Rogers Rangers. And I got these from an Ohio supplier, rrbminis.com. If you like these figures and you want to get some yourself, you can get them at rrbminis.com. They are very inexpensive. However, I think he may be using an alloy that has a little bit more, more of a lead content in it. Some of those restrictions have gone away. So, but I don't plan on eating them either, so anyhow. I'm going to go ahead and just start cleaning up any visible mold lines. And these are actually pretty good looking figures. I don't see a whole lot. There's one on the back of that guy's calf there. It's a little bit harder metal, isn't it? That's a little bit harder metal, so maybe he's using something with a higher tin content. I may have misspoken. He was probably using something, well, I don't know. It's a little softer there. But I don't know. Hard to say. Get this musket barrel straightened up here a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this base down a little bit, because there's no reason for this base to be quite so big. Now these are hardened cutters. These are actually designed for cutting copper wire, so soft metal like this isn't going to hurt them much. But I don't recommend using like your nice God hand clippers for this kind of operation here. So we'll do up 10, and then we'll put them on bases. Oh. Looks like his musket got a little tired there. Again, I don't see a whole lot of, I mean, if I ignored these mold lines, the little few ones that I do find, if I ignored them and just put primer right over it, you'd probably never see them. So these are Rogers Rangers from the French and Indian War, British outfit. one of those precursors to today's special forces, or at least that's what the History Channel would tell you. So there's a mold line right there. Boy, it's tiny. It's very, I mean, he must have some pretty good molds. There's there's a vent right there. So he must have some molds in pretty decent shape, with good fitment. Trying to get this barrel to straighten up a little bit better. It's got a little bit of like where I need it to be straight, it's got a little wiggle that I just can't get out. Oh well. Close enough. Close enough. It'll be just fine, I think. Yeah. And then we'll cut this base down so that it fits on a round base a little bit better. This guy is trying to load his rifle while he's kneeling down. Musket. I don't know that Rogers Rangers had rifles. Definitely had muskets for sure. There's a vent. A lot of times if you see something coming to an end with a sharp tip, there'll be a vent at the end of it to let out any air from the mold so that it doesn't create a pocket and cause problems with the casting. And this guy is loading his musket while standing up, the way you're supposed to. Again, very clean castings. You don't have to do a whole lot, it looks like. it's just really hard to tell there's a mold line there until you really look closely at it. But if I have to look that closely, then I probably don't really need to clean it off. Right? Well, we'll move that back slowly into position there. Now, if I wanted to get really crazy, I'd shave that barrel off and replace it with a piece of brass or something. What happens is whenever that metal gets folded like that, it flattens out. And so you wind up looking like some kind of a laser gun from Star Wars or something. But yeah, check out rrbminis.com. Tell them I sent you. I don't get any kind of reimbursement from them or any kind of consideration from them, but they do like to know how you find out about them. And then he's also got a couple little skirmishy games, little zine style skirmish games that he sells. I think they're $2 a piece. But I intend to use these with a Song of Blades, not a Song of Blades and Hero, a Song of Drums and Tomahawks, written by Mike DeMena of First Command Games. Uses the Song of Blades and Heroes engine under permission by Andreas Sfulgoy. Let's see. We'll put this guy up here. He's in the marching position. cool. Now, where is his parting line? Looks like right here. I would expect to see it go across his face, but it's, again, these are very well fitting molds, it looks like. So I would think that it would go across his face, but it doesn't seem to be going across his face. It's going across his hat right there. Going across his little haversack there, and there's a nub where there was a vent. So we'll take care of that. And then it would go down here across the sole of his foot. Straighten up his musket just a little bit. Pretty good right there. Nice, nice. A little vent on his thumb right there. We'll clip his base. There's 2, 3, there's 6. 6 so far. Let's see, here's another guy marching. I think I'm just gonna let me just organize these and see how many of what guys I've got in what position here. And I've got another bag full of 8 more of these guys. Oh, this must be Roger himself. He's obviously the officer there. He's pointing and shouting. You can always tell the officer figure because he's always pointing and shouting. Standing and shooting. Alright. Kneeling and shooting. Marching. Standing and shooting. Standing and shooting. Reloading. Again, standing and shooting. Advancing and waiting, I think. Kneeling and reloading. And waiting and advancing. Now this is a bit of a rough spot right here on this casting. Means the metal wasn't quite hot enough to fill up the mold completely. Just a bit of a rough spot there. But other than that, it's a really nice casting. Parting line right there. Kind of still a little bit visible on the leg, but not too bad. I could probably ignore it. Here is where a vent is. Clean that off. There's that parting line right down the middle. It's going front to back. Right there, right there. Actually not bad at all, quite honestly. The roughness on this, on the rifle, on the musket there is probably about the worst bit of it. But I can live with that. So the one thing about historical figures, sometimes they're very representational. It seems like over the years, historical gamers have always settled for representational over. I mean, they always they always complain about accuracy, and they always want to count the buttons or make sure that it's the right lace for that time period. And they'll criticize it on a 6mm figure where you're never going to see it. Go figure, right? But they've always had sort of suboptimal sculpts. These are older sculpts from years and years ago, so they were actually, these are probably some of the best, these are probably some of the better sculpts back at that time period. They do paint up nicely. I have seen these particular sculpts painted up, which is, and they're well proportioned for the most part. Some of the older sculpts, way old, really older sculpts, even for historicals, they were not well proportioned. But these are very nice sculpts overall. Just some of the casting. I just got that one rough spot of the casting. For most part, though, everything's looking pretty good. Now, because these are sold in the classic style of the bag and the hanger, so what I mean by that is there's a bag, just a plastic bag, and it's stapled to a hanger. Usually there's a little hole here for putting it on a pegboard. But yeah, so these are got eight of these guys for $10 from rrminis.com. Check them out. Like I said, these are actually really good sculpts for the time period that they were sculpted in. And they even hold up today. If you just want something inexpensive and you like French and Indian War or early Revolutionary War, you can get. Now, of course, the Rogers Rangers were not, I don't think they were active in the Revolutionary War, but there are lots of figures that would be appropriate for use in a Revolutionary War game. Scenario, skirmish sort of a thing. So, check out rrbminis.com. And if you like inexpensive miniatures, good quality, inexpensive miniatures, check out Next Level Miniatures and use my code Rocket 5, that's ROKKIT, followed by the number 5, Rocket 5, for 5% off your order from Next Level Miniatures. These, however, are not Next Level Miniatures. Hey, Jack McCarthy. How's it going? Good to see you. I just saw your message. I'm sorry I missed it a little bit earlier. I was waxing poetic and I did not see you come in. I didn't see you come in. But yeah, so shouty and pointy. This is definitely what the officer does. And he's got a pistol. Because we don't trust officers with long guns. Or maps, for that matter. Hey, DSL. Hey, Michael. How you doing? Good to see you. I just saw that come in, too. I wasn't looking... the way my computer is set up is 90 degrees to my workstation. So if I don't get right to you exactly when you hop in, and I've been just kind of waxing poetic to zero viewers for a while. So I hadn't checked the chat for a minute or two. So doing pretty good. I did a paint and take yesterday. Ran a paint and take at a local convention. And getting ready to do one for next week as well. Debating on whether I should take this stuff out of my car or not. But I am running out of figures to give away. I got a hold of a company a while back and they were going to send me some, but they never have yet. They haven't followed through yet. So I'm going to have to shake their tree again, I guess. So... anyhow, I apologize for not seeing your messages in chat there, folks. I was engrossed in what I was doing. I apologize. So... Alright, let's see. Kneeling and reloading. I guess he just doesn't want to get his head shot off. That's what I'd be doing. I'd probably just be hiding behind a log with my hands over my head. All in all, these are really good castings. They're a little old school. I mean, they are from old school molds or refurbished old school molds, or probably got master castings and redid the molds. But these used to be old glory molds. So Rich got the rights to reproduce, if I remember correctly. So but yeah, I hadn't been looking at the computer screen, so I did not see I did not see anybody come in there. I apologize. I usually try to acknowledge when people come in, and it's not that I'm not paying attention, it's just the way my setup is not the way I want my setup. The plan is to get a small, like a 10-inch monitor screen, a secondary monitor, so I can watch chat off to the side over here, because my painting desk doesn't really have room between me and my paints to have the computer actually up on the desk here. And I don't want the computer up on the desk because I don't want to get like metal shavings. I don't want that to go into my computer. So if I missed you, I'm sorry. If you took off and aren't there anymore, well, I apologize anyway. I usually definitely try to watch who comes in, but like I said, I was streaming to no one earlier, and I just kind of got caught up talking about what I was talking about, doing my thing. But hopefully you're all out there still, and you are doing fine this beautiful Sunday afternoon. It was a beautiful Sunday day today, I gotta say. It was cool, comfortable. Still worked up a sweat doing the yard work. But it was a beautiful day today. Cold front came in last night. Sky was nice and blue this afternoon. Sunny. Much good day. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 so far. Let's go ahead and get some bases out. And I'll put these 10 on round bases. See how many bases I've got left over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's 10 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 20 guys. So 20 guys, 20 bases. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put these 10 on these bases here. We'll key up the bottoms of these real quick. And a little super glue, a little Gorilla Glue, a little super glue gel. I like the thinner super glues, thinner, but this is actually pretty nice as well. Some of my thinner glue has gone off, I think, and is not really great, but it seems to set up faster than this does. So but the nice thing about the gel is it does have a little more controllability to it. So So we'll see how late we go tonight. Don't know. Maybe 8, 8:30. Who knows? Maybe 9. I don't know. Hard to say. Do have to do some laundry somewhere along the line. Alright, I'm going to set them, as I do these, I'm going to set them off to the side here. We'll see how far we get. I might even get up to basing these tonight. So I like to base things before I paint them, that way I can paint the base all at the same time. Because I'm crazy like that, what can I say? That way all the bases look the same, because I use the same colors. I think probably all my bases pretty much look the same. Because no matter no matter what I do, I use the same colors, which is like a trail tan. I use a dark umber, burnt umber, trail tan, and then like one more lighter tan color, and then I put the put flock and grass tufts on there, and maybe some flowers. They all kind of look the same, I think. But I try to give them a lot of interest, even though they are very much the same. Shouty Pointy Officer here. Hi, my name is Shouty Pointy Officer. It's what I do. I'm pointing at you because you're behind me, and I'm telling you to get out in front of me. See? I'm going to call this Officer Jack because Jack McCarthy says he'd be doing this. He'd be pointing and shouting if he were an officer. So, pointy, shouty officer. We'll call him Captain McCarthy. Captain McCarthy of the Rogers Rangers there. Well, now you done it, Jack. Now you are immortalized in low lead content pewter. Jack McCarthy. Make him a second lieutenant, too. Take away his map and his compass. Hand over to the top kick. No map for you, Second Lieutenant McCarthy. But you do get to shout and carry around a pistol. All right. Okay, good. So there's 10 based on 10s. So, all right. Let's see. Find the cover for that. All right. What we got here? What do we got here? We got another officer. Cool. So one officer per 10 guys, 9 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One officer per 9 guys, and then I've got another group of 8 and an officer. So, if you like the old school revival of the RPGs, these are the old school revival of the miniatures. So, old school style figures are haute couture right now. The raison du jour, if you will. Seeing zines come back, people coming out with little rule sets and zines. It's I'll tell you what, it is all the things we wanted as kids, but we could never have, you know. No, you're too young for that. You're too young for that. But Mom, I want it. No, you don't even know what it is. Okay. All right. I guess you're right, Mom. Yep. Sure. Ooh, I don't know about that. That looks pretty weird. Yeah. No. That's the thing is, though, is gaming was a lot more than just what people thought they saw or thought they knew. It's a whole world out there that they were kind of propagandized against. So, when you grow up and find out that all those things aren't quite as your parents said they were, well, I guess I could go ahead and just, yeah, go ahead and put them on bases as I clean them, right? That's probably the most efficient way to do things. But old school gaming has its drawbacks. There are some things that are clunky, and then when you start looking at them, I mean clunky, but there are some things that they require die rolls for. That, why do they have 3 die rolls to do this one thing, when really you could just do it in 1 die roll? Good question. What do those extra die rolls mean? If you're a game creator, if you're a game writer, game designer. It's good to think about that. Do I need 2 rolls to resolve this, or can I find some way to resolve this in 1 roll? Do I make the number higher? I don't know. Good question, right? What does this die roll mean? Why do I have it here? Am I just rolling? Do I want the players to just roll dice just for the fun of rolling dice? Which, I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. And if that's why you do it, that's great. That is great. However, is it really that necessary? What does this die roll mean? Good question, right? Good question for game designers. What does this die roll mean? Why is this here? Why do I want my players to use this die roll now instead of baking it in with something else? And I think that's probably the weakness of a lot of older rule sets, is they just want to roll dice, and they do it in the name of granularity. Well, granularity slows down your gameplay, and the more granular your gameplay is, the less game you actually have and the more simulation you have. And I think it was Don Featherstone who wrote that the more simulation you have, the less game you have. So, if you want to play in a simulation, why are you playing a game? Because there are better ways to get a simulation out of something than rolling random dice, rather than having somebody that understands how things are going to work. Help write rules, or help write a simulation. Simulation is run for purposes of data collection. If you are not collecting data, then you can be a little more free with the game, and then you have a good reason for rolling dice. But again, why do you have all those dice there when you do you really need those die rolls? It's a good question. What does that die roll mean? Why does it exist? Why do you have it there? Good question, right? Cool. Good deal. I need to slide. I need to put these guys somewhere else because I'm running out of elbow room here. Running out of elbow room. Let's see. Sheesh. Running out of elbow room. Where can I put them that would be safe? Oh, I could do this. I put them up here in the paint rack on the flat part here where they've been hanging out for the last couple of months already. Yes, as that is what I will do. I will do this. I will put them here on my paint rack where they can take the high ground. We'll put a shouty officer right there in the middle of them. Shouty Jack McCarthy. Second Lieutenant Jack McCarthy. Alright. Cool. Alright, that's a good place to put them. That's a really good place to put them. Aye, aye, Captain. Put them right up there. And then we'll transfer them to a paint stick when it's time to prime them up. Alright. That ramrod's pretty soft. You don't hear that every day. Now that's something I would rather cut off, drill the hand out, and replace with a little piece of brass or even plastic reinforced with steel. I have a really cool little product from I will think it's Plastruct or Evergreen, and it's a little it's polystyrene rod, but it has a steel core in it. I didn't realize that it had a steel core in it when I went to cut it. It's like, why is my knife not cutting through this polystyrene rod? Oh, there's a steel core to it. I thought that was kind of neat. I kind of like that product. It's great for when you have to have things that are thin, but you want to be able to paint it. Alright. Alright, good deal. Looking good here. Oh, there's a little parting line right there. Again, the parting lines on these are so subtle that I think that if I went ahead and primed it, it would never show up. But I'm kind of weird and fastidious like this, so to do here? What do I want to do? How do I want to do this? Got into a discussion about these puddle bases today and how best to cut them off. Some people think you should attack them with a razor saw. I think that's a little bit overkill, quite honestly. I think that's overkill. I think if you just clip it down to where you want it, I think it's a much better end product. See, I don't need to have quite so large a base on these. I don't know why they did that back in the day. That's a lot of material. Maybe it helped in the casting process. I don't know. I do not know. I cannot say. For I was not there when they did it. And I don't know who the sculptor was on these either, so I don't think I could ask them either. They may be they may be dead and buried by now, as are many from that period. Of course, I think these were probably sculpted in the 80s. They have very 80s style, but they are bigger than 25 millimeter. They're closer to 28, so maybe 90s? I don't know. Two messages come in on my phone. Wonder what that's all about. Again, there's a little bit of a parting line on his hat, and it would seem to go down past his hat band, and it would be on his face, but I don't see it. I don't see it on his face. It would normally think it would come down here and then cross the body right about there, and then it'll catch his knee and his foot right there. But I'll tell you what, these are extremely close fitting molds, evidently, because I'm not seeing a whole lot of readily noticed mold lines, parting lines here. I'll tell you what, however they did these molds with these older figures, they must be fairly in pretty good nick. So over the hills and far away. Although I think that's probably a much later song than would be sung by these fellows here. Although they also served King George. So now, I may have taken a little bit too much off of that bass right there. I may have got a little carried away, but it was just so easy. It was so easy to do. We'll just let that one set up for just a moment, since I did use maybe a bit too much verve in the removal of the bass there. Oop, and he's not quite centered up, is he? The funny thing is I think YouTube would probably ding me if I actually sang Over the Hills and Far Away, because there are a lot of copyrighted versions of it, even though it is an old song. Copyright claim system wouldn't know the difference from a folk song that is in public domain versus a copywritten recording of it by somebody semi-famous, you know. So I don't think Twitch could say much about it. I don't know how their copyright claim system works. But YouTube has an algorithm. The algorithm. AI. AI is the bane of our existence. Although, just now, I mean, just in the last year or so, 2 years? I don't know, whatever it's been, seems that it has become more popular to use those options. However, AI has been around for a little bit longer than just recently. It's been in use for quite a while. It just hasn't gotten to the point where it is now. So I really need to get Social Stream Ninja up and running so that I can actually see everybody's chat in one screen. Again, it would help if I had a 10-inch monitor, which I would have gotten had I had oh boy, had things gone a little smoother this winter. Won't get into that. Won't get into that. If you know, you know. I've talked about it before. I don't want to talk about it again. There would be a few things different going on here. Had certain people verified information before acting. We'll say that. So the first one, I see a parting line going across his face, but it's not too bad. It's really almost imperceptible. Probably working at it is going to make it worse. You know? We'll just call him Scarface. Actually, it probably will go away once I prime it. Over the hills and far away, there's 15 shillings on the drum. Anyhow, yeah. I think it's a much later song than what these guys would have been singing. Now, last time I got to cutting around the feet of one of these guys, I cut too much off and just left a very small sliver, and I don't want to do that again, because it's the more area you have between the base and the glue and the figure, the better that glue is going to hold. So, let's see. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Over the hills and far away. That's another project I've got to work on, is my Napoleonics. Everybody was talking about it. Somebody did a couple of games and then they were off to something else. My club tends to be a little ADHD when it comes to games to play. So we actually made plans to do first Battle of Saratoga. So I was cleaning those figures up earlier this evening. So they're all on paint sticks now. But hard to keep up sometimes when they say, well, oh yeah, we're playing this now. And it's like, I gotta order those? So I've got some Napoleonics to work on. But that's another game that we'll be revisiting eventually again here before long. Little black powder. But my problem is I've got projects for other people as well, and it's hard to keep up sometimes. But oh yeah, we're playing Team Yankee. Well, nobody told me. Tell me 3 months before you play the game so I can get something together so I can play too. Oh, well, you can just use whatever we got. Yeah, but I want to have my stuff too. So but that's just part of being in a club. And of course, it's nothing super organized. If you want to be organized, if you want to be one of the organized people in the club and you want to actually do something, our member named Jeff is a good guy. Jeff said, hey, let's do this game. So he purchased all the models for it. So Jeff bought, he might have even gone in with somebody else to buy all of these little 15s for the Battle of Saratoga. So they're getting all the units that were there. Each of us is taking a little bit of the load to paint things up so that nobody's overwhelmed with the project. And then we're going to host the first Battle of Saratoga in July. So everybody's kind of doing things. Now that's the advantage of having a club, of being a member of a club. When you got club mates that are just doing whatever they want, not telling you, that's how things used to be. That can be a little frustrating, and you wind up buying more than you normally would because you're trying to catch up, and then by the time you're caught up, they're on to something else. That's why I say we tend to be a little ADHD about things at my club. So, but I'm looking forward to doing all this up for the Saratoga game. That's going to be fun. Almost looks like I cleaned these already. Well, no, I didn't, because I missed. There's something I would have missed right there. But I like Song of Blades here. I like Song of Blades and Heroes, but also even more, I actually like Song of Drums and Tomahawks because it's historical based, and a lot of it is, well, so the gentleman that wrote it, Mike DeMena, actually is he's now a retired history teacher, but he lives in this area. By area, I mean Ohio. Not my immediate area, but he's regional to me. And so a lot of that game is based on history that happened literally in my backyard. I grew up in this area, a few miles south of here, in Kentucky. I say a few miles, about 50 miles south of here, as the crow flies. And that was where Daniel Boone used to roll through, and Simon Kenton used to roll through here, this town, like this area where I'm at. The Shawnee were very populous in this area. A lot of the things you hear about the early frontier happened here. Blue Licks State Park is not too far from here, where the historians consider it to be the last actual battle of the Revolutionary War. The British had enlisted the help of the natives in the area to give the settlers a really bad time. And they caught a bunch of them while they were harvesting salt at the salt licks on the banks of the river. And then Daniel Boone was part of that group. And that was his big escape, where he got the name Sheltowee, which means big turtle. And you can still follow what they consider to be his footpath from up here near the Ohio River down to Fort Boonesboro in central Kentucky. Well, central eastern Kentucky. Depending on where you're from, you have a different definition of what is central Kentucky. Sort of. $8.27. So I think we may go to 9 tonight. I don't know. It just depends on. I mean, I'm just about done with these little projects. I cleaned up the 7th Infantry there earlier. I've got these guys all cleaned up and pretty well based. Or at least on bases, not based, just on bases. So I think that might be it. That might be a good stopping place for tonight. I don't know. See if there's anything else I can do. I think that's good. Let's see, there are 8 more of these guys. I've got some more of Rogers Rangers right here. I've got 8 more of them. I really want to go into it, though. I've got a couple of British colonial frontiersmen here in tricorn hats. I'd like to get some more of these guys to kind of bolster. You know, these guys would be like your townspeople or your settlers. So they could even do double duty as AWI militia. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into those tonight. There's only 8 more of these dudes here. Do I want to do up 8 more of these dudes? I don't know. I would like to kind of... I mean, I've been at this since about 5. I was going to start at 4, but household chores took a little bit longer than I expected. So you'll get that sometimes on these big jobs, as they say. Yeah, I don't know. If I get to a point and I don't know what I want to do, maybe it's good to do nothing. Maybe move on for the evening. That's probably not a bad idea. So, alright. So maybe I'll wait on and do those later on. So I've got... So I've got 20 of Rogers Rangers cleaned and on bases now. So I got that project. That project just started. Out of the bag and on the bases. So that's good. The hardest part of any project is getting started. That, a lot of people don't know that. They don't understand it, but instead of having a deadline, have a start line. Then you don't have to worry about the deadline. Get things started, get them going, and then you'll succeed a lot easier that way than concentrating on the deadline. Because a deadline, I've found for myself, and you may think this also, but a deadline tends to breed a certain level of procrastination. Oh, I have time. Oh, that's not due for another month. Well, I have time. Well, you have time until you don't have time. So, I think personally, if you can get a project started, it's easier to do that than get a project finished. So, all right. Well, I think we're going to put a pin in it here tonight. It is 8:30, and I've got things I got to do and accomplish. So we're gonna hang it up for the evening. Probably raid out here on the Twitch side of things. And do that. And then I think at 9:30 Eastern Time, 9 or 9:30 Eastern Time, I think Patty's Parlor over on Twitch, I think they're going to be playing some games with, I think, Jack McCarthy, maybe? Or no? I can't remember. Anyway, they're going to do a live play of something, I think, tonight. I think Jeremy is running that game. So, alright. We don't want to save these shavings. These could be bad shavings, as I'm not sure the provenance of some of this metal. So, we will put that in the garbage. Yeah. Alright. So, here are the infantry that I'm going to be doing up for the Saratoga game. Off with his head. That's Mel Boza's head right there. Wearing a funny hat. Might put that on a Space Marine. Or maybe an Imperial Guardsman. I don't know. Maybe a high-ranking Viking. Oh, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be even better than something out of 40K. I don't really care for 40K, quite honestly. At least, well, I like the miniatures well enough. I'm a little cold on the game mechanics, though. So, we got a general. Boop. We got some drummers. We got some sergeants. We got some standard bearers. We got a bunch of troops here. We got some guys in hunting shirts. We got the rest are in 7th Light Infantry. I believe they were out of Massachusetts. They'll be in blue jackets, black leather short hats, or build caps, I should say. I think they have a yellow or gold sash across the front of their cap. Maybe it's blue. Could be blue sash with a gold plate on the front, or brass plate. And yeah, that's going to be the big project. So I am on DD Minis. We're doing the million mini challenge for Games Workshop, but we're not because it's us. We don't really care if we use Games Workshop's figures, but we've all pledged a certain amount of figures to get done by, I think it's July or August. I'm not sure exactly when. I'll have to check. But there are 30 there, 20 over there, and whatever I've already painted in the last couple of weeks. Whatever I've already done. I've got another dozen orcs over here. 18. 12 there. Let's see, what is that? That's 1, 2, 3. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 orcs over there. Plus whatever else I need to get finished up on my desk. Plus this is one of the made to orders that finally came in. I'm really excited about doing this Gandalf up. That base is going to be really neat. That's cork that I just carved. I carved that kind of layered sort of rock formation out of cork because him just standing on the base did not look good. He was too flat-footed on the base, and it didn't sell the figure very good. So, anyhow, that's what I'm working on. And working on some things for Tech Commander as well. So that's going to go to my fellow game master, who is my senior. He is senior game master to me. We're both senior game masters. We've been around the game Tech Commander since it started. In fact, Dave was the reason it started. And yeah, so I'm working on that for Dave. I started that last year, and I started at Origins, sat there, started, and then we got sidetracked. We started working on other things, and I started working on other things. I brought this home to finish it, and so I'm going to finish it and give it to him at Origins. As well as this, I started at Adepticon a couple of years ago, and so now I finally got around to... I got it out of the battle box last year. I didn't have it for a while. It actually sat in Dave's collection box there that we use at the conventions, and yeah, so that's going to finish up. I've got to finish up the base, but these are pieces from Tech Commander. Tech Commander is now on its third edition, available at cdoggamestudios.com. It's a 386-page book, and you can get the PDF for $10, full PDF, the full rule book, or you can buy the book for, I think it's $68, which $68 for a 386-page book is a really good deal. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think that it may still be up for pre-order. If you pre-order it, you'll have, I'm not sure if it's still up for pre-order, but if you pre-order it, it's $54 for pre-order. $56. $54 or $56 for pre-order. Either way, the pre-order, if you don't pre-order it, it's a great deal. It is a great deal for a book, because those pages are not just fluff. So 60 pages of rules, which you can get the 60 pages of rules, just the rules, for free online. But if you want the unit stats, so if you want the stats for this, you got to get the full book, because that is what is the majority of those 386 pages are stats for all the units that Dave and Brian have worked up over the last few years, and all the what you might call canned builds that we use at conventions are represented there. However, Tech Commander is at its very center, at its very heart, meant to be customizable. So there are very strong customizable rules in there. So you could pop these missile pods off, boop, 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 pop those off, doo-doo-doo, and you could throw these guns on there. Well, maybe not these guns. Yeah, I think I got these so they come off. Yeah. And you could pop these guns on there. If, I don't know if this has actual, so if these guns can fit on this chassis, as far as if the weight is not too much for them, and if this has enough energy to run the guns, you could actually do that. That's a little silly looking, but you can do silly looking things sometimes within the rules. There is a unit that is a really nasty, mean little unit. It's a very fighty unit. And if it gets the drop on you, you're done. But it is a very small mech. It's what's called an AC-3 mech, and it's meant to be a very fast little mech, and it is. And it's meant to be one of its strengths is that it is one of its strengths is that it's hard to see. It's a stealth mech. Well, the problem is, not the problem, but it had enough space on the chassis. It could handle the weight, and it had enough extra energy to run some railguns. And these railguns are huge, and the mech is small. And it is the most ridiculously obscene looking thing you've ever seen in your life. I don't mean obscene like really, truly obscene, but it's, you know, ever know when somebody does something weird with code in a video game, and so you get like a big head on a little body, even though it's not a chibi sort of a game, but you'll have those cheats that you can do that with. That's what it looks like. It's ridiculous. But I love using it. It's one of my favorite mechs to use in the deathmatch. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you were here, I saw Michael over there on the YouTube side, and I saw Jack McCarthy over on the Rumble side, and I saw them too late. I did not see their messages, of which I apologize. Hopefully you're still watching. Probably getting ready to go on to Pat's thing there on the Rumble. So anyhow, we are going to say Good night. Remember, no matter how bad today might have been, the sun is coming up tomorrow and the world is a better place with you in it. Keep on painting and keep on playing. Good night, everybody.